Hello everyone, welcome to Mommy with a Mic. Today I'm going to be reading the book I Am Amelia Earhart by Brad Meltzer. From Leela, my daughter, who makes me feel like I'm soaring. For Audra, my life, my co pilot, my hero. I am Amelia Earhart. What a pretty little girl she is. When I was little, people told me that girls should wear dresses and play with dolls. They said we shouldn't have unladylike adventures. I didn't agree. Yuck. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my sister and I decided to build our own roller coaster in our backyard. We placed two planks of wood up against the side of the tool shed. Grandma's not gonna like this. The cab was a wooden packing box with roller skate wheels attached to the bottom. We greased the wood with lard so we'd move super fast. Amelia, are you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea ever. Woohoo! Of course, I got to ride first. This was my moment. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Zoom! I still remember the wind in my face. My stomach seemed to sink. I was flying. The crash was loud and noisy and messy. It certainly wasn't ladylike, but it was awesome. Amelia Earhart, take it apart this instant. That was awesome. It wasn't the last time I would fly. As I got older, I went to many air shows. When I was 23 years old, but still a kid at heart, my dad took me to meet Frank Hawks, a man who eventually set many of his own flying records. Are you ready? I'm ready. For $10, Hawks agreed to take me on my very first flight. For 10 minutes, we flew through the sky and out over the Pacific Ocean. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew one thing. I had to fly. Look at me, I'm upside down. Woohoo! To save for my flying lessons, I worked as a truck driver, which wasn't ladylike either. Move it back! A stenographer, which is a fancy schmancy word for someone who writes down what people say. Blah 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 blah. And even a photographer. Say snook. 6 months after I learned to fly, I bought a bright yellow used biplane that I named Canary. Canary is a cool name for a plane, right? This is my instructor, a woman named Netta Snook. That is a real name, by the way. But here's the secret. I wasn't a natural. I wasn't the best pilot. I just worked harder than anyone else. That's enough flying for today. No, I can do better. One more flight. Most important, like that day on the roller coaster, I dared to do what so many said couldn't be done. A girl flying across the Atlantic. Amelia, are you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea ever. I became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean and then the first woman to fly by myself across the Atlantic. Back then, people took boats to get to Europe, sailing for weeks. Planes were still a new thing. In fact, on the day I took off, one magazine ran an article that said a woman would never be able to fly that far. Can you believe it? But I did. To do it, I had to fly for 14 hours and 56 minutes with no rest, no breaks. Sometimes the sun was so blinding, I could barely see where I was going. In the process, I also broke the record for crossing the ocean in the shortest time, doing it faster than any man or woman ever. This is awesome! In October 1922, I broke the women's altitude record by rising to 14,000 feet. And in July 1930, I set a speed record of over 181 miles per hour. Then I broke an altitude record, which is just a fancy schmancy way of saying I went higher than anyone else. How high did I go? About 12 Empire State Buildings straight up at a time when no woman had ever gone that high. In my life, I took many flights. Every single time there was someone who said I wouldn't be able to do it. Never let anyone stop you. Whatever your dream is, chase it. Work hard for it. You will find it. It is the best lesson I can give you. I am Amelia Earhart. I know no bounds, and I hope you'll remember that the greatest flight you'll ever take is the one that no one has tried before. Look how many people are cheering for me, and the same people who said I couldn't do it. Never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done, and that's what Amelia Earhart looks like in person. So children, you also put your heart to whatever your heart desires and work hard for it, and there is no way that you won't make it. Until next time, think of Amelia Earhart, think of your dream, and work hard, strive hard to work towards it. Till then, bye bye. See you next time.